What's going on, everybody? Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. First up, is she cheating on me? I, 28 male, have been growing suspicious of my wife, 25 female, lately. We have been together almost 7 years and married for nearly 2.5 of those. It seemed that as soon as we tied the knot, she fell into a deep depression. Our sex life vanished almost completely. Approximately 2 years ago, after maybe 8 months of marriage, I had grown suspicious about a male friend she had gotten to know through a Facebook group of a loosely knit nonprofit she had started working for. I ended up looking through her Facebook messages one morning before work and found that she had sent nudes that I took of her to a different male friend in the same group. I regretted looking at it, but I ended up confronting her after work with a letter. I am not good at formulating my thoughts in the heat of the moment. There were tears and profuse apologies on her part. I decided that she seemed sincere and told her that I forgave her, but I didn't want this to happen again. I also asked her to attend couples counseling with me so that we could work through the underlying problems that brought her to that point. She didn't agree to the counseling, but ended up getting on antidepressants. I've tried to quietly work through trusting her fully again. Fast forward to January of 2020. Things are good between us for the most part. Her mental health seems to have improved. She asks to go to a conference training on a mental health first aid. She wants to help other people going through mental health issues. I agree to this trip. Her roommate is, allegedly, a woman we will call Sharon. She and Sharon become quick friends. I say allegedly because I have seen exactly one picture of this person, and it was not with my wife. It literally could be anybody. Anyways, they became such close friends, my wife asked if she can go back to see Sharon in February. I agree because she doesn't have many friends where we live, and it seems they get along. Now, this trip was just for fun. No class to attend. My wife is basically incommunicado for like 4 days. A little weird, I think, but she has only so many friends and I don't want to be possessive. A couple months later, Sharon offers to fly my wife out around her birthday. I once again agree, and once again my wife is basically incommunicado for 4 days. She comes back and was sort of complaining about how Sharon said it would be a girls' weekend, but ended up having to include Sharon's 6-year-old daughter in their plans. My wife asks me a month later if she could try to plan another girls' weekend soon. I'm already growing a little suspicious of this flying out to another state so frequently. At this point, COVID-19 is in full swing and I've lost 1/3 of my income. I tell my wife, I don't think it's a good idea to fly right now. Besides, we have no spare income right now. I let her tell my wife that Sharon is more than welcome to drive out to us, or we could pinch pennies for a couple months and drive out ourselves in the fall, because I'd like to meet Sharon. My wife is hesitant about that idea, and I don't hear about Sharon for months. Oh, and around this time, my wife starts asking for alone time, which entails me leaving the house from anywhere for half an hour to a couple hours if I make plans with one of my friends. This is weird to me, but I attribute it to her depression making a comeback during the pandemic. About a month ago, I asked my wife, "How's Sharon doing? I haven't heard anything about her for a while. You guys good?" I still have my suspicions about Sharon, so I'm trying to probe and get some gut feelings. My wife says basically, they both got busy with life, but she'll reach out. Then, this past weekend, I can tell my wife wants to ask me something, so I probe a little bit. She says, "Sharon and I have been talking a lot and wants to see if I could come out next weekend, this coming weekend, for her birthday. It would be over $100 round trip. I could fly out Friday after work and get back Monday afternoon." We're financially better now than we were 10 months ago. I think about it for a little. I can't think of a good reason for her not to go, so I agree. Fast forward again to today. I get home from work and my wife's suitcase is packed but open on the bed. She told me she was planning to pack today, so I didn't think much of it at all. I have a few drinks because why not? I'm pretty liquored up and my inner dialogue says, "Look through her suitcase, bro." So I do. On a side note, I hate being a snoop and invading privacy, but sometimes I can't help it. It seems like just clothes and stuff, and I'm about to leave it be when I see the hidden pocket on the top of the suitcase. I open it up and find a vibrating dildo, a magic bullet, and 2 butt plugs. Now, I know that she put those toys in her suitcase recently because they were in a nightstand a couple days ago when I got a CBD tincture out of there with her permission. We haven't used any of those toys either. We only had sex twice all of 2020, and those toys were not involved. I find this extremely suspicious because, while I know that we all have our needs, this is a 3-day trip. 3 days in which she says she will be staying at Sharon's house, and I assume with Sharon's daughter being present. Sex toys wouldn't be high on my list of items to pack for a trip like that. My wife has expressed being bi-curious before, but has always seemed too nervous to do anything about it. Before her depression and pandemic, we had multiple trips to strip clubs in which we received private couples dances, but that was together and agreed upon. I told her if she ever found a lady that she wanted to explore sexually with, that I was only comfortable with that if I was present. Now, my mind is going 100 miles per hour, and even as the alcohol is wearing off, I can't help but think, my wife is cheating on me with a woman. Am I being crazy? I wish I could take all of the facts and thoughts rolling around in my head and put them on here coherently, so I apologize. Do I confront her with this? I'm not even convinced that Sharon is a woman. For all I know, Sharon could be Sean. When she's on her trip, do I ask my wife to send me a selfie with Shannon? I don't freaking know what to do. I don't feel like I can bring this information to any friends or family just yet. Please advise me if you can. Thank you. Alright, let's get a couple responses from the community. Smooner1993 says, "No offense, but it sounds like you already know exactly what's going on. I know it's incredibly difficult to deal with and face, but I worry that you're in denial. There are red flags everywhere in this post. She's being so blatant about it. I say let her go on her trip and seek legal advice while she's gone and prepare yourself for when she comes back. She should have communicated with you throughout all of this, or before she even got to this point, if she had any respect for you." Steel Up 21's comment, "Men are masters of complicating their lives and then justifying why they do it. Dude, it's plain as day to anyone reading this, and I'm sure it is to you as well, but when it's our own lives, we justify why we do it. Start planning your exit strategy from the marriage. Her focus or desire is clearly no longer you, and hasn't been since before the nude pic incident. Once that happens, it rarely ever changes. Good luck." And lastly, learn from experience. Look, it sounds like the only thing that's going to convince you is if you catch them in action. Your ability to ignore all the signs is almost purposeful. So go to whatever city they're in, figure out where Sharon lives, and catch them red-handed. Or hire a PI and have them do it. Whatever you have to do to convince yourself once and for all, and move on with your life. Alright, enough of that one. Moving on to the next story. Dad cheating with a coworker. I, 15 female, found out my married dad is having an affair with a younger female coworker who is also married. I had my suspicions about the pair, but it was my 12-year-old sister that discovered the incriminating messages on my dad's phone and showed them to me. I have no idea how long this has been going on between the two. They've known one another for 2 years, and I've personally known the woman for a year. We played recreational sports on weekends, and she drops off homemade goods at our house. It's strange and betraying to know that the woman I initially thought was romantically involved with my dad, which I later felt foolish for thinking, is in fact in a secret relationship with him. I know it's typical for teenagers to be very upset or angry at their parents for their infidelity, and I am upset, but I can still see what drove my dad to starting this affair. Learning my dad was unfulfilled in his relationship with my mother is upsetting, and I feel genuinely bad for both people in this affair for being so unhappy before finding one another. All of this being said, I am foremost upset that my younger sister had to find out about this, and that she now has to carry the burden of his secret. I'm also upset with my father for breaking our family's tight quarantine to continue to meet with this woman. He is putting 5 other people in our household at risk, including his highly at-risk mother and his wife, a freaking doctor. I'm asking for advice on how to proceed. I intend on confronting my dad about this because I'm not going to keep his secret. How have others gone about confrontations? I think it would be a good idea for my siblings and I to seek therapy or counseling after this, as I believe this infidelity may hurt my younger sister and brother, as well as me. How should I suggest this to my dad? As the oldest sibling, I feel responsible for getting my sister uninvolved ASAP. I'm trying to pull together everything so I can tell her what the plan is, how I'm going to solve this, and how she will no longer be keeping the secret. What do I tell her to help her? Any other advice for me? Before we continue with the update, I think it's time we pause to get a couple community comments. Retired Guy Ken says, "Make sure you have irrefutable proof with multiple copies saved, stored in different locations. Then tell him you know everything and he needs to come clean in the next 2 days in front of you and mom, or you will out his affair. He may react badly and seize your phone, iPad, laptop, etc. So this is why you need multiple copies in truly safe locations. Don't trust that he will do this on his own, and he may lie about your mom knowing. Don't believe it unless it comes out of your mom's mouth. Good luck and stay safe." Lucky McConkey thinks, I'm sorry that this has happened to you and your sister. My son had suspicions about his dad and ended up feeling very guilty for not telling me. None of this is your fault. No one is a winner in this situation. You don't need to carry his secret, and you are doing the right thing. Just be prepared for lots of lies, excuses, and pretty awful behavior from the adults in your life. Unfortunately, when people go on the defensive, they say and do all kinds of things. I am not being condescending by saying you are very brave and should be proud of yourself. Lots of people of all ages struggle to deal with information. Your parents are human, and being given the title mom and dad doesn't change them. Good luck. Signal Search 6EQUJ5 wants to say, OP, you're a really good person for being so concerned about the welfare of your family, especially your younger brother and sister, who are way too young to be caught up in this. I'm sorry that you're probably going to have to witness some adults behaving badly soon. Keep looking out for and advocating for your siblings. They'll really appreciate that you are there for them during a rough time as they grow older. KRA73 Ace has the last comment before the update. Definitely keep copies of the messages, but also keep an open mind about your father's actions. Let him explain his actions and be mindful that there's aspects of marriage and relationships that might be hard to relate to as a teenager. It is possible that your mother is aware and has even sanctioned the relationship. I'm not sure that as a parent, I'd rush to talk to my kids about my open marriage. I feel it is something between me and my partner. Maybe you have a point that there needs to be a coming out for these open relationships. Okay, time for the update. I, 16 female, told him to talk to my mom, who he's married to, about it, and then discuss it with our entire family, my mother and younger siblings, 12 male and female. I was planning on following up with my dad to make sure he'd actually told my mom, but I got busy with school and I didn't want to rehash it. I assumed he told her. Well, he never did. He told her yesterday, right before he had a family meeting with all of us, to break the news, even though my sister and I knew he was cheating over 6 months ago. Well, new plot twist. He got his coworker pregnant. They're having a child together. The kid is due in May. So this has been known and kept a secret for quite some time. He wants to divorce my mom and marry his coworker. This infidelity has revealed unhealthy patterns of behavior that my dad has been using on my mother for quite some time. He has been neglecting and manipulating my mother for years to take her power away from her. He's tried to convince my siblings and I that we're happier without our mother. He's been telling our relatives that our mother terrorizes and abuses us. She doesn't, so he can have custody of us. My mom is rightfully upset, but she's expressed relief that something is finally changing in her marriage. Mom tells my siblings and I that she wants us to make the decisions that are best for us in terms of where we live and how we navigate this new family dynamic. My mom is very level-headed and wants my siblings and I to choose our living situation for ourselves. She's trying to figure out how to explain her unhealthy marriage and my dad's manipulation to my siblings. Dad speaks strangely about his affair, calling it a net positive for the family, and refusing to take responsibility for impregnating his coworker. He is continuously love-bombing me and guilting me into telling him I love him, and telling me that the love and acceptance I give will be returned. Does anyone else find that to be an incredibly manipulative statement? He expects me to forgive him and be okay with his actions, even though he has expressed no remorse or accountability. He is spinning false narratives to my siblings as well, telling us all vastly different stories about how things transpired. I'm disturbed and upset by his pathological lies and constant manipulation. Dad's moving out over spring break, in a few weeks, to live with his new family. My parents have started the process of divorce, and I'm sure there will be conflict over custody and finances. I'm excited to move on with my family and my life and start therapy. I worry that my dad will continue to hurt and lie to my siblings, who are young and more forgiving of his actions. That's the short version, honestly. Any advice, sympathy, or commiseration would be appreciated. How do I help my siblings through this? Do you have any advice for coping with this crazy news? Alright, community. Let her have it. Tertiary78 starts us off. Holy hell! You may not realize it now, but you will likely have troubles with relationships due to your father's despicable behavior. I hope you keep up the therapy for a long time. It will be hard for you to hear and recognize that this is completely unhealthy behavior from your father. I encourage you to create as much distance as you can from him and love your mother as much as you can. Your father is a broken human being, and he is doing his best to continue the cycle of abuse by breaking you and your siblings. Do your best to avoid it. So much damage is already done and will take you years to overcome, if you're truly able to overcome it. The OP's response, thank you. The core of this issue is my dad's refusal to change his dangerous patterns of behavior. I don't want to be anywhere around that if I can help it. I will continue to support my siblings if they want to spend time in his new household, but I plan on telling them the truth about my dad's actions. My mom and I have a close bond, and I'm happy that she has a path for a better future now. I think therapy is going to be essential. I do not want to end up like my dad. I guess I officially qualify for daddy issues now. Terser78 offers more comforting words. Recognizing it and working to realize the unhealthy behavior so you can avoid it in your personal adult relationships is the best way to end the cycle of abuse. You can't change what kind of father you have, but you can rally around the normal and minimize the damage from the abnormal. But you still need outside help to process these feelings because you lived it, and I'm sure there was damage done even before you found out the affair that you might not even recognize today. Euthifro closes us out with some comments. Seems like you've gotten pretty good guidance from below, and I would second it. Approach dad first. I know people are saying maybe there's an open relationship or something, but the fact is you don't know. So best to act on assumption there is not. If there is, then the parents need to understand that what they thought was just between them is affecting the kids, and they are going to have to figure out how to deal with it. Since it seems like he's trying to keep this on the down low, there's a pretty good chance the relationship is not open and he is cheating. If you don't say anything because you think there may be an explanation that is enabling him, it's keeping your mother in the dark. If she already knows, then the disclosure won't make a difference, but will become an opportunity to address the family. If she doesn't know, then you are doing the right thing by your mother. I definitely second the counseling for the kids, on their own, disentangled from the mother-father dynamic. But I think the sequence is informing the dad, ensuring he informs your mom, or you informing her if he doesn't step up, then having a family meeting so the impact on the kids is on the table. Then counseling for the kids can follow after that. By the way, there is another innocent person here, the affair partner's husband. He deserves to know too. I wouldn't want to put it on you as a 15-year-old to address that, but think about the position he is in, being cheated on and deceived. And he can't do anything to protect himself because he doesn't know. I have no specific guidance to offer you on this point, but I know I would feel a lot of moral stress knowing that I had information that could help someone and I was not sharing it.